It's all good, man. Alright, yo, people, what's good? What's good? Welcome to another episode of Quality Over Quarantine. We are still here. We are still on lockdown. Kind of. It's kind of out there. We're kind of switching it up a little bit. I had to change studio rooms because I couldn't do it in the other room because it was too hot. And you know what I mean? I had to be comfortable to talk to this brother today. So you really know what it is, man. Introduce the one and only Buggsy. The one and only.
Blessings. Respect.
See, this is a deep one, yeah. Because this is before I do these interviews, yeah, I'm always kind of like telling people how I kind of came to find out who they were and the how the relationship came together and all that, yeah.
Yeah.
And you was one of those guys, yeah, who I was always seeing your name about, and because I don't know, because like you're a kind of man, you just do your thing, yeah. Like that's just how you are. You're just on your thing. So I never used to like bump into at different places. So it was cool, like just being a fan and just being a fan of your music and obviously just always pushing it. But every time I see you, it's always love, like straight up, just like, you know what I mean? Just energies. And I must have I was shooting a video for, I think it was Volcanoes actually.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo man, come and go get some food, yeah? So this is in Bristol, right? So we rolled up to this breakfast truck, yeah? Like wicked food. So man's just jamming. I just see you rolling up, fidget spinner in hand. I'm like, nah, come on.
I remember that day in snow.
Yeah, man. That is cool,
Yeah.
man. The vibe in Bristol has always been something I've always kind of been a little bit jealous of, like coming from London. Obviously we have our communities and whatever, but the Bristol vibe, it's a different thing. It's a different flex, and I don't think a lot of people who haven't been there before really understand the connection.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to it in a bit, yeah, because the whole business of throwing a statue in the river, yeah, that's like I don't think people really get, like Bristol people, they don't really do like obviously there's prejudice everywhere, yeah, but Bristol's one of them places, yeah, where people come together. Like people come together for the culture, for Bristol and their people first before any of that. So it was a blessing to see, man. But how did you grow up around that area, and where were you? Have you always lived in Bristol? Like how did that all come together?
I'm Bristol born and bred. I'm born in a community of St. Paul's, aka Black community, aka Riot Town, aka Drug Zone, aka all different names it's had over the years, you know what I mean? That's why I grew up. I grew up there proudly, you know what I mean? And yeah, my experience growing up was similar to the people who are, sorry, what is your age group again? Sorry, big man.
I'm about to be 39.
Okay. So let's say I grew up with the man them, the oldest was your age, yeah, in the generation, and then the youngest was say 34, something like that, you know what I mean? But I grew up with that generation of man them. So I seen things from a different view, or should I say from your view, when I should have seen it from this new view, which is now or the one just after, you know what I mean? So I grew up with that view because the way the community was at the time as well, that's just how it was, and it was really Pan-African, Afrocentric, alongside like a lot of the stuff what was going on the streets. It was African and Pan-African and Afrocentric, and previously to the drugs, it was Rasta, fully Rasta. You know what I mean? Fully Rasta.
That's definitely one thing. I think one of the first times I was out in Bristol, and that was definitely the vibe. And I know people that I've spoken to from before that grew up in that area.
Yeah,
that was the norm. It was Rasta, and it's funny as well because obviously I grew up in Brixton, and at that time, so Brixton was the same thing. You look at West London, you look at Grove as well. It was the same thing, and it was those communities that kind of really instilled the culture that we still have now. So there's a lot of there's so much DNA of the Rasta movement that is intrinsic into what we do now and to how we move. And it's funny because there's only a few areas that really hold on to that. And if you look as well, you see them trying to tear that down, like really strongly. In any area you can think of where Rasta was the movement, you see now like a deliberate way, a deliberate motive of trying to get rid of that.
Well, the thing is this, we've come to the conclusion amongst many ones and ones that things has happened and has come to a point of time that it is what it is now. And we're talking everything from the knowledge which was practiced and taught around the area, even down to the fire that Rasta was burning on the system, to the point that we overlooked things like buying houses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These kind of things which was actually there, but when you look back was presented as we are actually exempt from these things.
Yep.
Now when we move on to present day, we've overstood these things, and I try to teach this to the younger generation about the knowledge, because that's what it was mainly. The knowledge was at a certain level, and now with everything, not to say integrating, but let's say with things integrating, people have learned lots of knowledge. They've learned lots of different knowledge. And the conclusion I would say to that is a lot of what Rasta has said from the start, a lot of the knowledge that Rasta has gathered, even down to today, has been like present day in the past couple of weeks have been regurgitated in many different shapes and forms. Much emotion has gone in the air.
Yep. And
I reasoned with the Rasta elder the other day, and he was gonna say something to me about it, but I already said something to him.
Right.
It clarified, and it's not like to say, "Oh, I told you so." Rasta done said this, but Rasta done say many of the things and situations, like to say brutality and racism.
Yeah.
Again, on those topics, besides the movement which has been established, on those topics, there's many things that could be said, but for me, I have to draw a line, because for myself, because I'm not in the working world. I'm not in the working world, so I've commented saying, well, I'm not in the working world. A lot of our sisters have been in the working world for a long time prior to us really stepping up to the table and
100%.
getting, you know what I mean? So I have to listen.
Yep.
I have to listen to what they're saying. I've had to stop and say, wait, let me hear what you're actually saying, because I don't know what the working world's like now. I can tell you about what I done when I was in the working world and my approaches to get into the working world. You know what I mean? I definitely didn't bring the energy into the room that I'm a black man and you're not going to give me the job, because I know that's not going to help me.
100%.
In fact, besides all of those things, the interviewer was going to look at my energy and think, well, what is his problem?
100%.
You know, he could be racist, but he could not be. He could just, you know what I mean? So I learned to go into places and present myself as a person.
There's a lot, because we kind of had a little conversation a couple of days ago, which is why I said, yo, let's do this, But you brought up a lot of things you just said there. One of the things we forget with the Rasta movement, because we kind of had this idea that Rasta started when we heard of it over here, and we forget Rasta history, and we forget that Rasta history is really dealing with oppression. So
yes,
you have to that people who have, if you dealt with something, you have experience of something. Rasta have experience with oppression, and not just racial oppression, oppression within their own place where they live. I'm half Dominican. Being a Rasta was illegal. Having dreadlocks was illegal in Dominica in the 70s. So and obviously persecution in Jamaica. We look now and we go, oh yeah, Jamaica's the place of Rasta. People forget, Rasta was. That's why Rasta was in a mountain. Because they were getting hunted.
I tried to explain this to my girlfriend, and she was in denial, and I was like, well, you not like, I said you need to research it, and she probably thought I was saying like you need to. I wasn't saying it. I was just like, it's just a figure of speech, like do the research on it and you will see. You get me? Rasta was not accepted. It wasn't even accepted in communities. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like, when I was growing up, You know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily accepted like that. I fought a lot of fights, but I just took it like a pinch of salt, innit? You know when say dubbing, when people used to dub?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
man used
Yep.
to try to dub me. I was really good at dubbing,
See,
so you know what I mean? I
clap
always
back.
reversed it back. Yeah, even the day, you see the day I put on this hat,
Yeah.
I come on the block, the man them see me on the block, the man them's like, what's that? Laughing at me, laughing. But I turn around, I'm like, well, I'm a Rasta man, innit? And then the laugh was on them because it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like,
But
and that was
and that's the thing, like, that people forget about when we talk about oppression, and we talk about revolution and dealing with oppression, and not just in communities. We talk about Haile Selassie, one of the, like, general a military mind. Yeah, go, like, I'm telling people now, if you don't know, go research and go see what he did in Ethiopia. Yeah, when you're talking about a military general with a mind, understanding how to protect your country. Again, these are the messages, these are the lessons that were passed down through Rastafarianism. So again, like you said, these are a lot of things that people have already seen, people have already been through. Another
you know
thing,
what?
yeah, go on.
Like me personally, like I know a lot about what Selassie's done, but that isn't even the reason why I praise Selassie. I don't praise Selassie personally for the things he's done and the political stuff and the military. I respect it highly, but the king being crowned at that point of time when Marcus Mosiah is telling, look to the east, and the king being crowned, black people around the world did not know where they were from. They had no idea where they was from. So when they've seen the king in highness and understand that, wait there, the Queen of England is bowing to this man? Who is this man? This is where the research starts. This is where the real core of the movement starts, and the real, you know what I mean? And over the years, the Rasta movement has gone into many different shapes and forms
100%.
through many people adding different things. Like you got the 12 tribes, they deal with the Bible, and you know what I mean, there's scriptures in the Bible which say this, and Amanaya Bingiras who's dealing with back to Africa, you know what I mean? And then we can bring that to present day where there's actual people who's rebuilding the economy of Africa. You feel me? Where it's fabricated now, you know what I mean? What the man has been chanting on the drum is actually is fabricated, you know? So even with that being said, like, all right then, the man them are marching, you know what I mean, this social media presentation of unity. And you know me, I'm all for unity. I'm united with all people and I'm united with all my brothers them. That's my vibes. But now can we talk about rebuilding the economy? Because that becomes a scary question. That becomes, well, I don't want to leave here. I don't want to move up. But this is where the core of the Rasta movement started.
Yeah.
And this is where, not to say people turn their back on the movement, but they turn their back on the movement, so say, you know what I mean? And the same thing which was said then is the same which is said now. Because the fight still goes on. The fight is still happening. You understand? On whatever angle you want to look at it, whether you want to look at minerals and things being taken from the country, or you want to look at the state of where and how we are living in the Western world, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that we are in a bad position. I'm not saying that we're in some terrible dire straits, because I personally would be lying and I would be buying the narrative that the media is trying to push. Because I don't believe we are in such dire straits as what is being presented, you know? So it's like
100%. I think there's so much stuff, man. Like, so let's just take one point at a time, yeah. The idea of going back to Africa, I think has more legitimacy now because the British community has changed. So I think before, what we had we had a situation where we had Rasta saying we need to go back to Africa, but you're talking with people who have never been to Africa, right?
Yes.
So the idea of Africa is still there, but then when you say practically, that you look at Marcus Garvey, practically, how does it happen? And that's when it kind of falls apart, But I think now what's happened, because obviously now we've had generations that have been going back and forth, and also we now have the inclusion when we talk about being black and British, and what it means to be black and British, the inclusion of Nigerians, Ghanaians, all kinds of East Africans, West Africans. So now you've got a direct path now. You can say, no, these people are from there, not first generation, second generation, from there right now. So again, that coming together. There was a video, who put it out, man? One of the rappers must have put a video out last year, and he was showing his yard, and he was like, this is what you rappers need to do. You need to come, bring your money and bring it here. Like, this is what we're doing, this is what we're building. And I feel like it's getting there. We saw the Afro Nation last Christmas in Ghana. Everybody was in Ghana. Everybody. Like, I was here alone because everyone was gone. Yeah. And those, for me, I'm like, yes, because that's what we need to do if we're gonna talk about what's legitimately ours and where do we stand in the future. And like that, to me, that's a big step.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm not shying on the fact that the institutional racism, that is a problem, and the system is built the way it's built. But Rasta has always known that the system is built the way it's built. I'm not saying, oh, Rasta got all the answers. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is that we've always known, and street people has always known how the system has been built, and we've always known how to counteract the system which has been built, which has been geared against us. So I like to gear in the counteraction, like car seat, you know what I mean? And with the counteraction car seat comes black history, which is actual black history. People like Abu Bakari, aka Mansa Musa, people who actually traveled the world long before Christopher Columbus. You know what I mean? With riches, loads of gold, and just these kind of histories, things which actually empower us, not phrases like saying we were from royalty, because I understand that was something that we said at one stage of time to make people identify that we have come from civilization, we come from place that had great royalty. But the fact is, if we enslaved all white people now and then years later they said that they are kings and queens, is untrue, because they wasn't a part of the royalty, you know what I mean? And I'm not dissing the power and what we've possessed by saying that, but I'm saying let's evolve with that now, because we know that part of history. Let's stand great and move forward. And when I say stand great, you know, it doesn't have to be any sort of brave demonstration of blackness, because I agree with people who's doing that, if that's how they feel to do that, you know what I mean? But sorry, again, it just goes hand in hand with black businesses. I respect black businesses, but if I say, hey, this is a black business, who am I advertising to, and who am I scaring away, or who am I second guessing to come inside?
I hear you.
If I say it's a business, it's a business. I'm a black man. It's already. But you know where I'm coming 100%.
From. 100%. But this is why I like your approach here, because your approach is always like, it's very realistic, and it's very based in reality. So it's no fantasy business, it's reality. Something you said earlier, you said about going into a job interview and having this idea that I think comes from what you're told. If you're told that you're oppressed, you're downtrodden, everybody hates you, how are you gonna react? Like, how are you gonna be? And
trust me.
And that's it right there. Having, like, I was never told that. I was told, my dad told me, listen, there's stuff out there, it's gonna be hard for you, but that's no reason for you to ever feel like you ain't it. Like, you just have to work a little bit harder, get where you're going. And I feel like that attitude has taken me where it's needed to where I've needed to be. And I feel like there's a lot of this whole thing of, we spoke about someone put up a video actually yesterday, I think I saw it. It was Malcolm X talking about white liberalism and saying how white liberalism is a killer, because what it's doing is it allows it gives black people, any black person, a reason to not make it and say, you didn't make it because you're black. Like, and everything is now on that. Like, that is the biggest thing in your life. That's what you need to focus on. And we've seen it a lot. And it's not, like you said, this isn't when we start losing that base of reality, yeah, we start losing the nuances of what it really is. Because yes, there are things that hold us back. There is systemic racism. There is that kind of stuff. But at the same time, yes, your job is to fight against it. But it's never your job to go, oh, this is why I can't do what I need to do.
Yes, exactly. 'Cause I grew up in the hood, and that was attitude which was passed across. And then a man will pick up a set of whites, you get me, and go break it down, or you know what I mean. And the thing is, I get that, and I get that cycle. But that cycle, you have to break it at some point of time, or else you're never gonna really realize that it isn't as what was told to you. You know what I mean? Like, for a small example, big man, I walked into university at the age of 17, and they gave me an unconditional acceptance because I showed them, I demonstrated to them that I know what I'm doing. I even brought in a brand new Mac. They hadn't seen this Mac before.
Right.
And it was actually a Mac Mini, the most affordable Mac, you know what I mean? And it's what I could afford at the time as a young youth, you know what I mean? And I went in there and I showed them like my editing that I'd done, some film, and I showed them some animation, and they let me on the course. And what made me drop out of the course was that kind of same racism vibe. I kind of picked up on it when I got into uni. And when I look back, I should have actually just blindsided it and not fed into it. But me feeding into it just made me flop. And it was just small things, like we went into the shop. We didn't have much money. We're young youths. We ain't getting no grant or nothing because we're 17.
Yeah.
So my brethren's bought a bottle of water. No, I bought like some fruit drink, and then he kept like refilling it in the water fountain. You know what I mean? Right. Then the woman in the shop, she's like, "Oh, you better watch out for him. He keep on saying that, but I think he's stealing them." But I was just like, "Hey, what you on about? Like, why is he stealing? He's told you he's filled up with water."
Yeah.
Second time, we're in the lift. Everybody's literally stood far away from us, you know. And I'm laughing in my head. I'm thinking, what going for these people? I just said it out loud. I was like, if only these people knew we were 17, you know.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Then they start talking to us. Oh, you're 17? Some assignment we had. I was in a group. One day I missed uni. They didn't even want to be, like, everyone's looking at me like, oh, we're not helping you. I done the whole assignment by myself. I done the whole project by myself. I passed the thing. I'm like, look, I don't need to go through this. This is peeing me off. And I should have read it out. But again, I got the skills that I needed. Yeah. And I used those skills within my music career. Doing my video editing and directing my videos. So it you know.
It's funny, man. There's a quote, this guy Gary V, he said something the other day, and he was like, sexism exists, racism exists, homophobia exists, they all exist. That's cool. But you need to pretend that it doesn't for you. And and to me, it's like, without even hearing that before, I've always operated that way, and I've always kind of had the attitude like I'm kind of like I don't know, man. Like I'm a big-headed guy in a lot of ways, and I always kind of feel like if I go for a job, or if I'm doing this, if I'm in a boardroom, if I'm talking to these guys, I'm always like, I know what I'm talking about, innit? Only because I only deal with what I know. And I feel like that's been a part that's always kind of pushed me forward, and I've been around people that have had the attitude of I can't do anything because I'm black, and I've seen it hold them back. Another thing I want to touch on, something that you said to me the other day was about the way we react to being killed by outsiders. Yeah. Being killed by police, being killed by people who are supposed to protect us, which is and obviously being upset by it, but also I guess from the black community, when crime happens in our communities, like I don't want to. We've been over the black crime myth already, but when crime happens in our community, we don't react the same way. We don't have the same reaction to crime as part of our culture. Speak on that for me.
Well, the thing is like, it is what it is, and that's a term that we've adopted to a lot of stuff. We just say, it is what it is. Yeah, man, 60 man got clapped down. Yeah, it is what it is. It's what it is. You know, it is what it is. But like, is it what it is? Is it really what it is? You know what I mean? All I want is our people to not be in denial or not pass the buck to somebody else
Yeah.
when we are talking about our own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah? Because this is something that we seem to do. You get me? And it's not really a good thing when there's so many situations I can throw out there. So many different situations I can throw out there, innit? But I just want our people to not be in denial or pass the buck when certain things are being said.
Yeah.
Like when they say black on black crime, we say, oh, why isn't there white on white crime, and why isn't there this crime and that crime? And I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm owning black on black crime. I'm saying, let's stop. I grew up in the hood.
Yeah.
So man can't tell me. Me? You see me? Yeah. I see man take the last breath. Man can't tell me personally about this nonsense. I'm saying I want our people to stop being in denial.
Yeah.
You get me? About arting, because it goes down to everything.
Yeah.
Down to the music.
Yep.
Down to every single angle. Yeah? And I'm not talking about anybody who's put anything in my mind. I grew up in the hood.
Yeah.
Every experience, that you could think in your brain.
Yeah.
It's like that. And there's nothing to glorify. It is what it is, like we say. You know what I mean? And man live with trauma.
Yeah.
But the fact is, all right then, for example, UK drill.
Yeah.
They were saying, oh, drill is making the youths go on mad, it's making them. Then there's a lot of people in denial. Then there's a lot of people saying there's a lot of people saying no. There's a lot of people. I love drill.
Yeah.
I love drill from when drill come out. The reason why I love drill from when drill come out is because they came with brand new slang.
Yep.
Just like you do on the streets. You remix the remix.
Yep.
And it was fun to me. And on top of that, I know not exactly know how them youths are living, but I've always been a fan of the music that comes out of those areas.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Like, let's say the 6.7s or the 150s. I've always been a fan of PDC. I've always been a fan of. I've always loved Brixton, just like you said about just like Brixton. Brixton is St. Paul's. Yeah. Is Moss Side. Is Handsworth.
Yep.
There was a point of time where you remember, man.
100%.
You remember.
100%.
Trust me. So like, I check out what the youth them are up to, and did drill make the youths them go on mad?
No.
You reckon it didn't?
Do you know what though? Okay, so I have a different viewpoint.
When I say this, I only mean in the sense of the man them's doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
How everybody else is viewing it and taking it, that's up to them. Remember that piece. That's up to them.
100%. So my view is this year. So obviously I work with gangs. That's what I do. So even how like the gangs always work here. There's certain men that are on job. They do what they do, and they'll talk about what they talk about. The problem happens is what happens. It starts looking cool to other people, and then what it does, it becomes bigger, and it sucks people in. So the core of people that were doing what they were doing, to be fair, a lot of them, especially making music, that's how they find their way out of it. They're not even doing it anymore. Like a lot of them actually get out of it. What you find is certain guys from places that ain't even really about that, they start seeing that and try to replicate it, end up getting themselves in things they shouldn't be getting themselves in. So what it does, it kind of builds a culture, and it builds a negative culture. So if you were to, you can kind of look at any crime wave or any wave altogether. It could be a positive wave. There's certain people that are inspiration for positive waves. They start doing something, everyone else looks at it, and they start moving in that direction. That's the problem.
Sorry to cut you.
Go on, man.
Sorry to cut you, big man. It's like, all right, how I see it is like this, Nothing wrong with nothing at all. But this is where the problem starts. The problem starts at this point here.
Right.
When the record industry and the music industry takes up these youths off the roadside,
Yeah.
And this is something that what I'm saying I'm against, I only say I'm against because I reckon that the youth them should have just kept their thing for themselves, because it is big and you do your thing anyway. You don't have to give it to them.
Yeah.
When the industry put it out, and the youth 6-7, they were the first like drill youths to kind of get a deal, I believe.
Yeah, one of them, definitely.
And get money and view this view of, oh, if I do this, because this is the catalyst. If I do this, it's accepted. Number one, I'm gonna make money. Number two, I'm gonna get respect. I'm gonna get girls. I'm gonna do all of this. So this is where it spread.
Right.
Many of the youth trying to replicate that sound and that style, which is not a bad thing, but it comes with things like it does come with it.
100%.
Youths now just stabbings in some next zones, some complete random ends. I'm like, whoa.
Because you know as well, so let's go, if we go back to when I first started getting into music and coming off the road into music, this idea of my first video, I think, was, are you really, really real? Do you rap them things that do you strap them things that you rap about? And the mentality was always these guys are saying this, let's find out if they're really about that, right?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of, and obviously it's a really ignorant way of thinking, but when you're in that, again, you're young, man, it's not a I know it's life and death, and I like 100% at the time it was life and death as well, but at the same time you never looked at it like we were doing anything wrong. We just saw these guys are saying these things. What is that? Is he really on it? Is that what you said? Okay, cool, let's go see. Right, and that's what I see a lot of today, exactly what you're saying. People from places that ain't even really about it, but at the same time, you can grow that, because I see a lot of people who weren't about it till they got their first strap.
Big man, this is what I'm trying to say. Right now, this is why it's dangerous out there, because there is nobody's trying to get stripes just for the fact of trying to get stripes.
Yes.
And they're actually doing it. Ain't no game. They're purchasing firearms. They're doing this. You know what I mean? I know how it is. I know how it is to be young. The excitement element as well.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take that away from the youths. Because it was all, when we was doing our thing, it was all exciting. The same war element, it's excitement as well.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's
100%.
excitement. It's like, the thing is this, what I was really touching on is that not drill especially, you get me, just for the years we've celebrated this thing of killing each other. We've actually celebrated it in music. We've really celebrated it.
We danced to it.
Really celebrated it, like from dancehall, everything. We've just really celebrated it to the point where, like, we've celebrated it. You know what I mean? We've celebrated it, and
So what's because this is a conversation that I've had many times, and many people have had. It's not just us. And I've seen it being used against us as well in ways where people have stood up. Geraldo has said that hip hop has done more damage to the black community than racism ever could, and those kind of wild statements, right? So
this is where it gets defensive. You see, that's where it gets defensive, and we get defensive in a state where we kind of get in denial. But at the same time, we can do that if we want to do that. But are we going to do that and deal with it internally?
Yeah. But see, that's what you're saying to me again. This is a problem with like political statements nowadays. Like, there's always like, there's no it's like you're one or the other, and you defend everything. So the idea, like you said earlier about black businesses, we say, yo, buy black, support black businesses. Cool. All right, cool. Not every black business is a good business, because not every black person is a good business person. The same way not every white person is a good business person. Not every white business is a good business. But it's like we're so caught up in defending our stance, we're not really thinking realistically. Again, this is why I say I love the way you think, because
the presentation of the business models as well is not even the business model. It's just too stuck on being a black. I'm not dissing either, I'm not dissing. 100%. I'm trying to basically make the man them make corner shops and get an ice cream van. It's everything.
I said
It doesn't
that,
have to say,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It
yeah.
doesn't have to say anything. Just business.
But
Let's
that's
just get business.
That's what I like though, because I feel like these are like honest conversations. I was speaking to a friend the other day who has her own channel. Go check it out, ML Speaks, Mary Law. So as she was saying, black people need a rebrand. Like what we see so much of is Top Boy, adulthood, like, and we see us represented in one way all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
And it's like, that's not us though. We know that's not us, but
yeah,
that everyone else don't know that's not us. So it is about having a rebound. And my thing was, well, in that case, we need to really focus on ownership and owning our platform to tell our own stories.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, this is like, we was in denial of black music, and the music industry merged into things like urban and then this and that and that. But the fact is, it just takes away the ownership that we had from certain things. And you look in a dub dance now and everyone's taking ketamine. I'm like, wait, what has horse tranquilizer got to do with roots music, big man? Please tell me.
Crazy.
Somebody help me and just tell me, what has ketamine got to do with roots music? Because what I don't know what heights you're reaching. I don't know where I don't know where, you know what I mean? And that's what I see. And I'm like, well, okay, yeah, okay.
But then we talk about ownership again. That's part of it, because when you own your culture, you get to say what happens within it.
Yeah.
And because like you said, even with drill, this idea, because it's taken over by labels within the music industry. So obviously we're only gonna see what works. I've spoken to guys at Grime Daily and Link Up, and they're again controlling the platform, but only wanting a certain type on going now. Because again, they go, well, this is what sells, in it. The kids are watching it. This is what the kids watch, so we're gonna keep giving them that. But it's like cool. But there has to be a point where you start taking responsibility, because that's part of ownership as well. It's cool to have ownership, but if you have no responsibility, it's not going to work. I have daughters, when they were young, if they could, they would have had ice cream every meal.
Yeah.
Cool, I could sit there and be like, oh, they like ice cream, I'm going to keep giving it to them, it makes them happy. But then they're going to get diabetes and die.
No disrespect to Grime Daily, you get me? Big them up, you get me?
100%.
But the fact is, when you become more corporate, what I seem to see is that they become more just like the people in the system. Any business, the more corporate they become, the more they come like the people in the system. When you're saying about taking responsibility, the system ain't taking no responsibility, big man. They're making 100%. Their guala, and that's what they're focused on, and the numbers. So it becomes that. That's what it becomes. 100%. You know what I mean? And again, no disrespect to Grime Daily. I'm not accusing them of doing that. You know what I mean? It's just many businesses I see become corporate and then forget the actual, you know what I mean, responsibility element of things. You know them way they call.
It's tough, man. Yeah, I 100% get what you're saying. And again, it's not even calling them out. Like I said, they've kind of done, all of them, SBTV, Grime Daily, Link Up, they've done their thing. They've tried to address the situation, but at the same time,
to cross a certain line in England, this is it. To cross a certain line in England, this is what they require, I believe. This is what they require. But I'm not willing to do that personally, just because the moral code I believe in. I don't reckon any money I acquire from that would even be joyful. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, I personally can't really see me, you know what I mean? But big up anybody who can, because sir, everybody's trying to get what they can, whichever way they can. You know what I mean? Again, maybe it's because I'm from Bristol. The model in London, the capital, is just get money. You know what I mean? I understand that also. That's why I don't really throw any shade on anybody who wants to assume them positions. You know what I mean? I want to be proud in my grave. I want to be proud in my afterlife. You know what I mean? I want to make my people proud. I want to just know so that I kept it true 100 and all the way through. Like, I was reading with the man the other day, and we was talking about like the creation of certain artists over the years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like saying, "Oh, I wasn't surprised that there was two more Bugsies that the industry actually created." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And um, I said to the man, "Then well, big up to the man them still and the way that they got through." But I couldn't get through them way there and come back to the blocks and reason with Unaman and feel good within myself, to be honest. Like, so I
Yeah.
personally can't go down certain routes. You see me?
But I think also as well, like I like that approach. And I think that's why you get the respect you get.
Yeah.
Because you've never changed. Like your message has always been the same. And that's one thing that I like in what I do. I always tell people, like, I want you to be able to always go back to the first song I ever put out, Jar Bless, and listen to that, and listen to the last song I put out, and go, yeah, that's the same person, because the morals have never changed. And again, I know you get the same conversations like I get, like, yo, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? And it's just like, because that's not me, man. Like, I'm not about that. And again, like you said, yes, you could get the money, but the money wouldn't feel good. It wouldn't feel good me spending it, because I knew that I had to sell myself out to get it. And again, it's no diss to no one else. Do what you want to do in it. Like, you feed your family how you want to feed your family. You sleep at night how you want to sleep at night. This goes to my next kind of way I want to go down. Like, as far as putting out music, you've never stopped. Like, you're everywhere. You do your thing, yeah. But when are we gonna get another album?
The thing is, I've been holding back on purpose for many different reasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe this COVID-19 thing was actually a good thing in certain ways. You know what I mean? Like, because I kind of already predicted how my year is going to be in the UK, and then everything just shut down anyway. I was just like, oh, damn. Did I do this? Sorry. Yeah, so it's like, I got an album ready, man. I got my album ready. I've been waiting to release it. I just been trying to get every single attribute together before I do so.
Right.
Because I want it to be bigger than ever, let's say. Because I'm dealing with the fan base I have already. You get me? I've connected with my fan base in South America and Brazil. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And that was my plan for the year, to reconnect and connect with my fan base around the world, to be honest. You know what I mean? Before I let go of the album and start releasing music. And yeah, it's going in the direction that I wanted to go. I actually want to work with Grime Daily. You know what I mean? I want to sit down with them and see if they want to do some work. You know what I mean? Put a few videos on their channel. You know, I'm interested in collecting one of them 1 million view plaques.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's a good achievement, it looks like. You know what I mean? It's better than a mobile straight.
100%. 100%. Tell them, man. Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm ready, man. I've got the music ready. I cannot lie to you. I have any minute now. It's gonna drop.
Yeah.
You know.
Who do you like? One thing I've noticed as well, like, your obviously your music's always very current, and you're always obviously you're always in your own zone as well, yeah. But do you take inspiration from other artists? I've always found like one of the first times that I kind of really took notice was the track you did with Jess years ago, right? Yeah. And I remember thinking, like, I'd already heard you do your thing, and I remember thinking, like, you just went over people's heads on that, like, crazy, and you just did your own thing. Like, it's like and I don't think a lot of artists would have done that. I think a lot of artists would have been like, oh, let me try to switch it up a little bit to be more like this, and it was like, nah, you just went, no, this is me, boom, and it was just, to me, it was like, oh, all right, okay, I see what's going on.
Respect. Well, you see, with that tune there, the producer, he asked me to jump on the rhythm.
Right.
You get me? And he sent me the rhythm with the 2 verses on already.
Scene.
I was like, all right, Jess's verse is kind of slow. Farmer picks it up a bit. So I thought, yeah, we'll just kill it with a double time flow. You know what I mean? When I listen back to the bars, I'm like, brah, you was just so road. I'm talking about all these stuff, and all of this, and yeah. That era's gone and past now, man. That era's gone and past. I've grown a bit more. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like make more songs that everybody can appeal to, and at the same time tell a few stories. You get me?
I get on the next project I put out, we got a track together, and
yes,
like, I must have said to you, yo, you wanna jump on this thing? You were like, yeah, cool. And then like the next day, man just FaceTime with the bars and straight. I'm like, nah, come on, man. Like, he was not messing about. I think out of everybody, yeah, like I think that was the first feature, one of the first features I reached out for, because what I was doing was I got this list in it, like I got a list of people that I've always wanted to work with.
Yeah.
And you've been on it from time, and I was just like,
Respect.
there's no way I can put this project out without having you on there. And so you was one of the first people I reached out to. You, the first person to hit me back and was like, "Yep, I got it." And it was just like that kind of actually. It's funny because that was the momentum for the rest of the album. So the rest of the album, that's what really pushed me, because I was like, "Oh, raw, okay, cool." Like if Buggsy's jumping on the track with me, then who else can I get, and what else? How else can I make this music all stand up? And it was good to see, man. It was proper appreciated as well, for real.
Yeah, man. Thanks, brother.
I'm a fan out here, man. I'm a fan out here.
The thing is, the vibe, when the vibe's right, the vibe's right. You get me? And you've told me that once before when I come to the show. We done a show in Bristol. Yeah. When I come to that show, you did tell me, and I was just like, yo, you know what? When man sends something to me, I'm just gonna fire it back straight away. That's my kind of like, that's my way of creating.
Yeah.
I write lyrics in my head. I don't write nothing down.
See, I thought that as well. See, I'm the same, but like, because I was just like, how did you do it so quickly? And not only that, again, because it's when you're not writing things down, you're not leaving it. It is vibe. It's just vibe. It's like, and you kind of have to. You can't be like listening to the beat over and over. It's like, nah, the first line hits you straight away, and then you just go from there. Man. So that's cool to hear, man.
Blessings. Elijah said me the rhythm, let me give it a Chris and clean out. Hey, clean.
Come on, man. Like, yeah, now I've got as soon as this whole thing dies down, man, I want to start getting out to doing shows again. And Bristol is always on the list. I don't think I've ever done a tour without Bristol being on it. Because that's where the vibe is, man. Like one of my favorite places. I had my 30th birthday in Bristol, like
mad.
One of my favorite times, man. Favorite times out there. Just seeing, you know what as well. This is a last kind of question I want to go down here, but this is definitely a Bristol thing. Bristol has so many different styles, man. So many different flavors, and like, again, Bristol's not a big place. But for some reason, the amount of MCs, the amount of styles, the amount of vibes that come out of Bristol, there's no only other place I could say is kind of like is Manchester. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah. Do you know what? It's mad that you quote Manchester, because I went up to Manchester when it was like they're underground, they're underground. You know what I mean? From back in the day, I supported their underground. So I got enough love for money. You get me? Because you're all right. It's similar in the sense of creativity. You get me? Bristol had a little time, but it didn't get to where it needed to get to, if you ask me.
Okay.
Manchester's been really good right now in the fluctuation of the music industry. You know what I mean? Everything's changed right now in the music industry, and Manchester's having a good ride. Bristol, we have always been creative, but why I'm saying but, it's because things has completely changed now. Things has changed. The originals, like a lot of the elders has passed on, and the elders passing on, they was guarding certain things. They was the keepers and the protectors of certain things.
Right.
Now it's a bit of a free for all. It's been a bit of a free for all. You know what I mean? Bristol is always been like drug heavy in the dances.
Yeah.
But I would say now, personally, I reckon it's more that way than ever. To the point that music is like the same dance could go on week after week after week with the same people, week after week after week, and no one's not really paying much attention, because they're paying attention, but like people's getting fucked, big man.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's my personal take on things, man. I'm just sat back watching, observing everything. I don't get high on them thing there, innit? So I see what's going on. I see many people who wasn't a part of that culture join that culture. Right. You know what I mean? Many people for the road, man's supposed to be thugs, all sorts of stuff. So it's like, it's just changed a lot. It's changed a lot. What do you think can bring Bristol back? Because I would never say that Bristol's like fallen off. Bristol's still where it is. But what does it need to kind of get to that next level? Because obviously I know there's a lot of young talent in Bristol, like ready to pop. And I feel like once one of them does, then obviously you're gonna see a pattern. But
What do you think it's gonna take to kind of move to that next level?
What it's going to take is for people to recognize who are the new age representatives and who have been the new age representatives, because the names will get called when you leave the city, when you leave the country. The same names or people will get called, and the message will not get back to those people, but those people will know, and the people who have links won't connect with the right people who need to make the right people be in the position where they need. Once that starts to happen,
right,
you know what I mean, then hopefully we can get somewhere. And I'm talking about, like, not keep on quoting Ronnie Size and Massive Attack every time when we talk about Bristol. Nah, people on past that. I'm one of the people who's even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, I was in South by Southwest twice. I've done the UK. I've done 30. You know what I mean? But it won't be sung because why? I didn't go through them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's funny you say that, because I feel like people kind of, they know that, and obviously I know the aura when you're in the rave. Like, I know the aura in it. Like, when you're in there, they know who you are, and again, there's a lot of Bristol artists that we could talk about that when they walk in the room, everybody knows. Oh, we know what time it is. So the reverence in the city is there, but for some reason, when you talk about on the main, I guess on the mainstream main stage forums or circuits, they don't get brought up like the legends that you lot are, which is it's a strange thing.
This is the thing. It gets political. It gets really political, but it's like, it gets political. It gets political, and it gets political. It gets political, just like Black history gets political.
Right.
It's exactly the same kind of politics where it gets political. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got them talking about racism in the music industry and the music industry system. You've got big magazines talking about these things now, and big record companies, you know what I mean? It narrows all the way down to the grassroots, because like I said, when people become corporate, they adopt the language and the ways of the people up top. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? It's grab.
Do you
stamp, you know?
I guess, like, do you think, or do you feel it? Yeah, because again, you're someone you've done the underground thing, but you've also done a lot of mainstream shows. You've done a lot been in on mainstream places, and this is the problem with the argument that the UK music industry has systemic racism. The problem is people look and they go, no, because we got Stormzy. No, because we had Wiley. No, because we had blah blah blah.
Yeah, those things.
I know why not, but why do you think? Like, what's your view on it?
Why do I think what? Sorry.
What's your view on that? Because to me, I'm like, yeah, that's cool to have these people, but the problem is, it's like we're always in the same box. So it's like, why do we need to always be? We've had people in that box. You're acting like black pop stars don't exist. You're acting like black rock don't exist. Like, these people are out here doing these things, but they're never allowed to be in that space. And we know that the pop space and the rock space is a lot bigger, especially in this country, than the urban, what they were called in the urban space, which is now apparently they're gonna go back to black music. But that's my thoughts on it.
It's like, boy, Wiley versus Stormzy, for instance.
We spoke about that as well. Yeah.
It is basically the independence versus the system. Yeah. Because Wiley's saying grime is from the streets and the industry's taken grime and made millions of grime. Or let's say Stormzy's the poster boy. He's been put in that position, boom, boom, bam. And they're battling, and a lot of people didn't really understand what Wiley was actually trying to say.
That's Wiley's fault, though, because Wiley didn't put it in a way that you know what the problem with Wiley is? He doesn't say because he's still protecting Stormzy. So there's a lot of things he's not saying because he's like, I'm not that person, and it's not my place to really say it. So
Wiley went against the machine. A
Yeah.
lot of people will say, "Oh, Wiley, he's had deals.
Yeah.
I've always watched Wiley's movements to the point where he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna get this deal and get what I need to get for me," and dipped at the F out,
Yeah.
which is right. And he done it numerous times, which is
Yeah.
kind of sick, but at the same time created a bad rapport on certain angles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when he takes himself to go up against the system, you know, that is something that I have to look at and say, that's deep and have to respect it. But will people actually see what's going on?
No.
You know, it was a win for Grime. It was a win for Wiley. The reason why I say that is because Wiley was trending at #1 on YouTube independently.
Yeah.
Independently. Stormzy was going to trend because he's a part of the machine.
Yeah.
He's got millions of people on his page. One view is going to be 1 million views straight. So that machine's already set. Wiley won that because he actually got trending #1 and he had 293,000 followers. And that's the game. That's what he was trying to battle against. And obviously lyrically, but that's the main battle. Battling against the system to see that the independent still wins over the machine.
I just don't think that it's an inside joke, and I think the artists we know what's happening. Everyone on the inside knows what's happening, but I feel the problem is you're talking about kids that are fans of the music. You're talking about kids that are fans. They don't know the culture. They don't know, no one knows what happens on the inside of the labels. No one knows about Stormzy's deal versus Wiley's deal. They don't know the ins and outs, so they look at it in a totally different way. And I feel like Wiley's one of the only guys who could do that because he's got really thick skin. Like, he don't care what you call him. He don't care about none of that. He's playing his game. He's winning. And he's cool. He's like, cool, I don't care. You lot can call me what you want. Say that I'm an old man. Say that I've lost it. Say whatever you got to say. But I'm looking at the scoreboard and I know what I was trying to do. And I know that Stormzy knows what I was trying to do. And I know that the people behind Stormzy know what I was trying to do. And I've done it. And that's it. So it's a funny thing to see. And it's also inspiring as well because, again, we talk about being independent and seeing where independence can take you. And
is interesting for me because, again, with the independence thing, is about this black leadership thing, and this black messiah business. Man's still waiting on some black messiah. That's not a real thing. Number one. Number two, man's looking at these people, and I'm saying these people, and I'm not making it as a diss, but as, okay, he's the spokesperson for black people, or he is that, and it's actually incorrect. And what we need to stop doing is bunching us all together into this one whole category of black people, because there's man from the roadside,
100%.
who's been dealing with brutality from day one. And that's the real people who's really being affected by this thing. You feel me? And I'm talking, we've had signs made for us. We've had police sweat boxes.
Yeah.
The ones that don't bring you, we've not been brought to court, big man.
Yeah.
I mean, we've not been brought to the police station. We've been brought straight to court.
Yeah.
Straight from the block to court in a police-made sweatbox. People don't know nothing about injustice. Man stood up on the blocks and they just come with a gun. Hey, stop where you are. Like, why are you sticking me up? But, you know, it is what it is. We're just the real people who really go through these things.
Yeah.
And then you got African people who's moved here 2 years ago. So when I'm saying back to Africa to them, they're confused. So we're not all in this one thing.
100%.
We're not all in this one thing. Just like all white people ain't all in this one thing, because you're gonna call a white person this and that, and they're actually Polish. Or we can't. We're not all in this one thing. They're trying to make us take ownership to. Oh yeah, slavery. This you should be mad. You should be mad. You should be angry. Yo, Bridget, listen, leave it out, mate. Again. I'm not saying not to learn your history, your real history, but again, the narrative. When I spoke about that university thing, I was a young youth from the blocks, one of the first to actually go to university. A lot of the youths are going to university now more than ever.
Yeah.
More than ever.
Yeah.
Can we shine some light on the positive things, what's going on? This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Can we shine some light on the positive, not bring on the new slavery? Can we talk about the positive things?
100%.
There's lots of positives that we are doing and done over the whole start of time. Let's just talk about those things, please.
Bro, man, this has been like an amazing conversation. I'm so glad we did this, because this is the things that you said are the things that I've heard you say before, and I just wanted people to hear and understand, because it's so powerful. And it's to me, you talk about emancipate yourself from mental slavery. That's exactly it. That's exactly understanding who you are. The locks are gone. The chains fall off, and you know what I mean? There's so much you said. So I want to thank you for your time, man.
The last thing I'm going to say to the people then is educe yourself. Educe is the original word for education. Educe is dealing with facts, not truth. So educe yourself. Bring yourself all the way to the start of time, right back to the present time, to see where you are right now in this present time. And then you'll really understand how you can reap your opportunities. You get me? Forgive, but do not forget, man. You got to get past all the hate, the pain, and all the politics, and unlock your godly gift. Do you know, man?
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. And a lot of things you said, I've said in my lyrics before, and a lot of things you said, you definitely said in your lyrics before. So it's powerful, man. Brother, hold the line, man. I'm gonna say goodbye to the good people.
Okay.
And anyone you want to big up, any shout outs and that?
Just big up all the familia in Brasilia, Aqua Julia, you see me? Big up all my people, them, you know, like that. Soon touch back down. It's them vibes.
Yeah, that's blessed. That's blessed. Brother, we'll chat very soon, man. Thank you. Hey, guys, please subscribe, like, share this video. There's so much knowledge in this video that I feel needs to be shared. So make sure you share this with your people. Let them know, man, what Buggsy's out here saying. We keep having this idea about, like you just said, we're not all the same, we're all different, and with this idea that we're just this, we're just that, and they're telling us, oh, all the music's this, all the music's that. No, it's not. There's people out here like Buggsy that are really spitting the truth, really telling us what's happening right now. And again, it's not a black thing, not a white thing, it's a truth thing. You've seen it, it's a live thing. So big up, shout out to Buggsy, big up the whole of, I wouldn't say big up Bristol, but big up the UK, big up the world, man. Like, it's that time, guys. We'll be back here next Friday with another guest, but until then, stay blessed, stay safe, peace.